Shalom, welcome back to the Deep Dive Special Edition series. Rabbi Shimon speaks about Zeir Anpin with the feeling of a secret finally being allowed to leave the heart. He says that these matters were hidden inside him. They were not fully revealed before. They were sealed, but now they become clear. A structure is being opened while Rabbi Shimon's soul is burning upward. Zeir Anpin means the small face. It is not small because it is weak. It is small because it is measured. It is the face of divine relationship, the face through which the infinite light becomes close enough to address the world. Atika Kadisha is the concealed ancient one, beyond judgment, beyond grasp, beyond prayer. Zeir Anpin is the revealed face that governs, answers, judges, forgives, blesses, and enters relationship with Malchut, the Shekinah. Rabbi Shimon begins by saying something very important. Everything is still Atika. Aba and Ima, father and mother. Chochmah and Binah are attached to Atika. They emerge from the concealed brain and are held in Mazal, the supernal flow of the beard. Zeir Anpin also derives from Atika and is attached to it. So even when the Zohar speaks about many faces, many levels, many names, the truth underneath is one. The lower face is not separate from the higher face. The revealed is not separate from the concealed. Zeir Anpin is the way Atika becomes visible enough for the worlds to survive. Then Rabbi Shimon says that blessed is the one who enters wisdom and comes out in peace, knowing the paths without turning too far right or too far left. That is a powerful warning. Mystical knowledge is not only about entering. Anyone can become fascinated by secrets. The test is whether you can come out in peace. To enter wisdom and come out in peace means you do not become inflated. You do not become confused. You do not use the secrets to escape life, despise people, or imagine yourself above the commandments of humility. You enter the chamber, receive the light, and return through the central column. Then Rabbi Shimon says, "My soul shall glory in Hashem." He says his soul is attached to him, shining from him, cleaving to him, and through that cleaving, it will rise to its place. This is the voice of a tzaddik who is not dying in the ordinary sense. His body is finishing, but his soul is already facing home. He is speaking from the doorway, and because of that, every word has weight. From there, he opens the mystery of the kings of Edom. The Torah lists ancient kings who reigned and died. In the Zohar, these kings are not only historical rulers, They are symbols of earlier worlds, earlier emanations, forces that came out before the full order of male and female was established. They shone, but they could not remain. Rabbi Shimon says, the kings assembled in the land of Edom, the place where judgments hold on. They passed together, meaning one reigned and died. Then another reigned and died. They were astounded, terrified, rushed away, because they were not settled. The king's arrangements had not yet been established. The holy city, Malchut, and her walls had not yet come into being. This is one of the deepest principles in Kabbalah. Light, without proper relationship, cannot endure. A world can have power and still collapse. A soul can have inspiration and still fall apart. A person can have fire, visions, intensity, and spiritual ambition, but if the vessel is not established, if the feminine side is not prepared, if Malchut has no walls, the light becomes sparks that vanish. The Zohar says, the first worlds were like sparks flying from a hammer striking iron. They flash in every direction. For a moment, they are bright. Then, immediately, they disappear. That is what unrectified light looks like. It is dramatic, but not enduring. It impresses the eye, but it cannot build a dwelling. The repair begins with Hadar. The Torah says, Hadar reigned, and his wife's name was Mehitavel. The Zohar pauses on this, because here, finally, male and female appear together. Hadar does not stand alone. His wife is named. The structure of union is present. Hadar is connected with Yesod, the righteous channel, the tree that bears fruit. Mehitavel is connected with Malchut, the fruit, the receiving vessel. The Zohar connects this to the palm tree because the palm does not flourish without male and female. A one-sided world cannot flourish. A one-sided soul cannot flourish. A one-sided service of God cannot flourish. Malchut is called the daughter of Maitrit and the daughter of Mei Zahav, gold water. This means she is connected to Chochmah and Binah, to father and mother, and she receives from two sides, water and gold. Water is Hesed, flowing kindness. Gold is the left side, the illumination of Chochmah, as it appears with judgment and strength. So Malchut is not weak. She is the vessel that can receive both tenderness and intensity. She receives kindness and judgment, right and left, water and gold. And when she is joined properly with the male, existence becomes stable. Before this face-to-face arrangement, worlds were created but not fixed. They were real but they were not established. They were sparks, not candles. They were flashes, not homes. Then the craftsman begins his work. The Idra describes Atika Kadisha as the craftsman. The harsh candle sends out a spark. That spark is powerful judgment, the force that strikes and produces the earlier worlds. But then it is mingled with pure air, and the two are sweetened by each other. This is how Zeir Anpin comes forth. Aba unites with Ima. The pure air, the hasadim, comes from the spirit hidden within Atik Yomin. The spark from the heart candle is hidden within Ima. When the two are joined and included in each other, a strong skull emerges. This is the head of Zeir Anpin. Notice the pattern again. Judgment by itself shatters. Mercy by itself has no defined vessel. But when pure air and strong spark are included in each other, the head can form. Zeir Anpin is born from sweetening. The skull of Zeir Anpin is strong because it must hold relationship. It must receive from above and govern below. It must contain mercy and judgment without letting judgment break away from mercy. Then the Idra speaks of the dew. From the white head of Arich Anpin, dew drips onto the skull of Zeir Anpin. This dew appears in two colors. It is white because its root is hasadim, pure mercy. But there is also a reddish hint because the light of Chochmah is included in it. It is mercy, but not shapeless mercy. It is life with wisdom inside it. From the skull of Zeir Anpin, the holy apple field is sustained. The holy apple field is Malchut. The Shekinah receives nourishment from this dew. The lower world lives because the upper dew reaches the revealed face, and from there flows into the field. The Idra says that from this dew, manna is prepared for the righteous in the world to come, and through this dew, the dead will be revived. This is a huge teaching. Resurrection is not random. It is the return of the highest life, flow into the places that seem finished. Death is what happens when the vessel no longer receives enough life to remain animated. Resurrection is what happens when the dew of the Ancient One flows again in fullness through Zeir Anpin into Malchut. The manna in the wilderness was a glimpse of that. Bread from heaven was not ordinary food. It was dew translated into nourishment. It was the upper world becoming edible. It was heaven sustaining bodies in a desert where normal sustenance should not have been possible. Then Rabbi Shimon says that children, length of life, and sustenance do not depend on merit, but on Mazal. Mazal here does not mean luck in the shallow sense. It means the supernal drip, the flow from above, the channel of the beard of Zeir Anpin. Some things in life come from a place deeper than ordinary accounting. Not everything is measured by visible merit. There are flows that come from Mazal, from hidden mercy, from a root the mind cannot calculate. That is why a person must never become arrogant when blessed, and must never assume that suffering means rejection. The accounts are deeper than the surface. The Idra then says that healing exists in the world only when the face of Zeir Anpin looks at the face of Atika Kadisha. When the revealed face turns toward the ancient face, everything becomes Arich apayim, long-suffering, slow to anger, stretched with patience. But the Zohar reads long-suffering also as healing of the face. When the faces look at each other, the world receives healing. The harshness in Zeir Anpin is softened by the endless patience of Atika. This is what prayer tries to awaken. Not information, alignment, face to face, the lower face looking up to the higher face, the self that reacts, looking toward the self that is rooted in ancient compassion. Inside the skull of Zeir Anpin, 3 lights shine: Chochmah, Binah, and Da'at. At first, the Idra says, there are 4 lights: the inheritance from father and mother, and the 2 hidden parts of Da'at. But the 2 aspects of Da'at join into one, so they become 3 lights entering the 3 cavities of the skull. These lights are like the head tefillin. They crown the mind. They do not remain abstract. They spread through the body. That is essential. In the Zohar, true knowledge does not stay in the head. Chochmah, Binah, and Da'at must enter the body, the emotions, the conduct, the way a person walks, speaks, gives, restrains, and loves. Da'at is the middle mind that connects right and left. It carries 2 colors. One color comes from Aba, Hasadim. One color comes from Ima, the illumination of Chochmah. Because Zeir Anpin contains both, his face can shine in different ways. With the merciful, mercy is revealed. With the strong and upright, strength is revealed. This is not God changing moods like a person. It is the vessel below, receiving according to its alignment. The face of Zeir Anpin has colors because relationship has colors. Atika, in its concealed root, is simple, unified, pure life for all. Zeir Anpin is where that simple life becomes measured, relational, responsive. Rabbi Shimon then brings Jacob and Rachel. The verse says that Jacob told Rachel. The word told is important because telling is connected with drawing Chochmah. Jacob is perfect because he can draw wisdom and bestow it to Rachel, who represents Malchut and faith. Again, the pattern is the same. The upper light must be given to the lower vessel. Wisdom must not remain trapped in the head. It must be told to Rachel. It must reach faith. It must become relationship. Then the Idra turns to the hair of Zeir Anpin. From the skull hang thousands upon thousands of black locks. They are entangled and intertwined. They come from the lights of Aba and Ima, from the brain lobes, from the hidden structures of the mind. Black hair here represents judgment, but judgment in strands. Not one block of severity, but countless fine channels. The hairs are tangled because the lower world is complex. Laws, warnings, mysteries, purity and impurity, hidden and revealed meanings, all become interwoven. The Idra says, all of this is hinted in the first commandment. I am Hashem, your Elohim. That one statement contains the whole structure of the brain, the commandments, the hidden and revealed Torah, the paths by which divine knowledge becomes life. Then comes a beautiful teaching about prayer. The black locks hang down and cover the ears. That is why the verse says, Hashem, bend your ear and hear. The Zohar says that whoever wants the king to incline his ear should curl the hairs of the king's head and move the hairs away from his ears. Of course, this is not physical. It means that prayer requires sweetening the judgments that obstruct hearing. Sometimes, the issue is not that God is absent. The issue is that the channels are covered. The ear is there, but the hair hangs over it. So the person praying must soften the harsh strands, curl the hair, move it aside, sweeten judgment, remove accusation, pray with humility, not demand, pray with alignment, not panic, pray in a way that clears the ear. Then the king hears what he needs to hear. This is the inner work of prayer, to bring the sparks into order, to join male and female, to let dew descend, to let the mind spread into the body, to move the hairs away from the ear, and to stand before the king without forcing, without performing, without despair. A flash is not enough. A spark is not enough. A secret is not enough. The light has to become a face. The face has to turn upward. The dew has to descend. The field has to be watered. The ear has to open. And when that happens, the world is no longer only a place of sparks that vanish. It becomes a dwelling, a holy city with walls, a field of apple trees, a place where wisdom can be told to faith where judgment can be sweetened by mercy, and where the living God hears the voice of the soul. Shalom.